With all the passing anime seasons, the march continues. Not the march of the tsunderes that fills us with hope of taming the shrew, or the buxom nun, senpai, or instructor that has tempted weebs for nigh a century. No, this march is that of something sinister and all-encompassing. This, my Nakama, is the march of the isekai. I know. While Winter 2021 gave us outstanding follow-up entries like ReZero, and our nerd memories lovingly reminisce on No Game No Life modern art, Saga, Tanya of Evil, Watch It, Konosuba, Darkness is Life, Grimgar and Ash. I don't care if you haven't seen it. Yume is my top 5 best girl, and I'm introducing it just for her. We cannot forget the massive onslaught that has been bombarding the anime community for decades. For every ascendance of a bookworm, there were plethora of the meh shows like Wise Man's Grandchild, to be the absolute abysmal By the Grace of the Gods, to the so bad, by golly, I'm going to keep watching it like in another world with my smartphone. Yes, I have trash taste, but I will fight you for my trash waifus. Yet, in some cases, an isekai comes along that just feels different. It's a hard feeling to pinpoint as you gorge every bit of information episode after episode. You find yourself feeling both nostalgic, but hopeful for the future. Your mind may play tricks on you as your soul feels that you have seen it before, but your brain completely negates that after scanning memory after memory. And that is when it hits you. This is something that has been seen in almost every bit of Truck-kun's loving tackles of the main characters. And that is the point when you give a shudder to your very soul. Because your entire existence realizes this is what you've been waiting for. Being sent into another world for a fresh start. An actual fresh start. Mushoku Tensei is that isekai.
The concept of a fresh start has been a very lax concept in the isekai genre. For many, the character is sent into a new world incredibly overpowered. In others, they are sent into the same familiar body and with some cheats to assist them in the world. Within Mushoku Tensei, we have an organic beginning, and while the main character has literally and figuratively one of the worst personalities I have ever seen in a main in a long time, that is the point. And that is the power of what comes in an isekai. Because we have been delusioned through this constant march to think of isekais as escapism, and to an extent that is true, but that isn't the core of what an isekai is about. At its smallest iota, the aspect of isekai is simple. It's a second chance. And it is through the now Rudius Grey Rat that we are able to truly understand the mission of the genre. We meet Rudy in the final days of his life, seeing a quite literally horny bastard. This dude misses his own parents' funeral and is found by the rest of the family wanking it to hentai. This is not even degeneracy. This is a complete lost boy that in our world may be someone that we know. And that person we know could be long gone. No redeeming attribute or bone left in their body. Within no possible hope of seeing the error of their ways and the flaws in how they see the world. It's sad thinking about all those we had once loved in our lives that have become completely different people with no desire of returning to some form of decency. And even for those that do have someone that wanted to change their life around, how hard was it to watch them struggle to succeed? Many having to reside in the same environments where those cruxes of their personalities developed, thus resulting in spiraling behavior. In Mushoku Tensei, we get to see an individual that has literally and figuratively hit rock bottom, and are able to watch them begin the gradual change. While some may think that it is a cheap format to need to be reborn in order to change, I pose that one's development and restructuring away from such cringy traits takes on the duration of literal years. So, being able to experience that within the confines of a child, only allows for the development of the character as he truly begins to start the world anew.
By literally coming into a new life, is this character actually able to finally be in the proper environment to start things over? This isn't a quick process, as we may like to believe is the case with people. It takes time to be able to break out of your bad habits. And even comparing myself to the person I was at 23, these last 10 years have seen a tremendous amount of experiences that I needed in order to shape my personality into who I am today. There is no quick fix when seeking to truly change people, and Rudy provides the ultimate example to that. While this character is far from imperfect, this creates the perfect foil for those that desire change in themselves, and those that have undergone tremendous amount of growth over long periods of time. This, again, is by no means excusing his actions. Hell, from the moment his eyes were opened, he tried groping his mom and became a full-on peeping Tom, watching the interactions between Paul and Zenith shortly after. In all regards, Rudy is someone not to be seen as a role model, but is someone that anyone that desires change in life can find something in. While his childish form only exacerbates his degenerate nature and allows for him to get away with things and engage in some questionable tactics, grooming is wrong. The necessary moments needed in order to change his perspective came about in an organic manner that challenged his life approach and how he understands the world. While it may not seem as momentous to some, the self-dialogue in episode 8, Turning Point, is integral. Simply not treating girls as he thought of his 2D waifus is unhealthy for him and unfair to the women in his life. That is outstanding personal growth, and his heartfelt apology following shows the humility needed. Granted, this growth comes after the greatest butt joke of all time. Sheer poetry in motion. Mwah! But do not let the immaturity depicted create an unrealistic expectation of this world. The new realm that Rudius has been born into is one of the best fantasy realms that I've witnessed in manga and literature as a whole. This does not have the sheer amount of material yet to rival that of Lord of the Rings, but from what I've seen and the buzz around its manga in the community, it may reach that threshold. As someone that has Lord of the Rings tattoos, this is not a light claim to make, but the mangaka Rifujin na Maganote and the anime led by Manabu Okamoto as the director, I have the same feeling of intrigue in the world and hunger for more knowledge about the realm as I did when first opening the works of Tolkien. This is a world rife with possibilities and a rich cast that allows for a more intricate and, to be honest, realistic exploration of the world. While it may be the degenerate in me, a casual approach to sexual lives and desires is a refreshing take. Not the me so horny and everyone does depraved actions trope, but an actual glimpse into individuals' lives, like Roxy, that may seem young but are full-grown woman with her own desires and kinks. Yes, we do see serious power dynamics in sex, especially towards the end of the season. However, this is quite similar to the dynamics even within the history of the colonial United States. Uncomfortable as it may be, compared to many other methods where sex has been introduced in isekai and other anime, this doesn't take the most traumatic, juvenile, or shocking approach. This is an adult story of adventure. This is why we claw through those anime quests into another world. To not have some warm and fuzzy adventure like those Saturday morning cartoons from our past, this is an adventure of our lifetime in a setting that isn't lewd for the sake of being ecchi, but isn't afraid to have a sensual side. That isn't afraid to deal with the mental health and actual character development, and takes the narrative time and risk to portray characters as gray. Personally, I love Paul as just a dude bro, but how dare he succumb to temptation and cheat on one of my top waifus. Zenith for life, But, like father, like son. And even though this is Rudy's second chance at another life, there are aspects to his personality that makes you wonder.
Is Rudius an evil character? His actions are explained to us in a way that makes his good deeds just seem logical and not out of the goodness of his heart. For instance, when Eris is being held off by a botched kidnapping scheme, he considers the offer of 10 gold pieces, but then reconsiders by shouting, "Money can't buy waifus," which, A is lulz. But B shows us how far he would go in order to lose his virginity. In the beginning of the show, when he is dying, the biggest regret he had was dying a virgin. It is, in my mind, our character's biggest goal. All the sketchy, perverted acts, including, let's be honest here, predatory behavior, are all part of the journey to him. When the Dead End team goes into the woods with the other two adventuring teams, they come across the Tokurabu gang, as they are surrounded by demons. As Ruijerd says, "Why aren't we rushing in?" Rudius says to wait. In his head, if they are more desperate, they will be in a more thankful position. Just then, the bird dude gets cut in half and yeeted against a tree. Rudius' eyes get big and everyone jumps in to save the rest of the team. Rudius says nothing and just stares at the body. After being confronted, he does not apologize. The first time I watched it, I thought that he had more remorse for his actions. But after watching it a second time, it's clear that he has not learned his lesson at all. He's playing an MMO to get laid. That's what it is in his mind. When he goes to the void to speak with God, he sounds like an unfeeling brat who has not learned a single thing. I don't think Rudius is an anti-hero. I think we are supposed to look at him as the hero given a second chance at life. It is an isekai. This would be a great time to mention, by the way, that I am watching the anime and I have no clue what's going on in the manga, so I could look very, very silly here. But it's fun to guess at things like how far will the main character go to fulfill his dreams? AKA, how does Rudius get laid? So the real question is, will we see Rudius become a better person or worse person? I think what makes someone evil is putting unnecessary harm onto others. For instance, when the kidnappers bashed Eris's face in with incredible degree of violence, they did so not out of necessity, but an evil desire to inflict harm. And with that definition, Rudius flies under the radar. He does not inflict harm onto others with the desire to make them suffer. In fact, Rudius has a deep desire not to kill until it inconveniences him. In the last episode of season 1, BoJack Horseman, it's BoJack Horseman, is blackmailing our team, and after realizing the dire situation, Rudius quickly abandons his moral code and is about to land what looks like a cumulonimbus spell. He's thankfully stopped by Ruijerd Superior, who goes in in a different way. After a bit of scurrying around, the Dead End team meet up and this dialogue takes place. "There's no shame in trying to protect something." Camera pans to Eris, indicating that he would kill for Eris. Now the deep question is, why? Is he protecting Eris because she told him he would have sex with him on his 15th birthday? Or is it because he cherishes her friendship? When he sticks up for Lilia as she proclaimed her new pregnancy, I have to ask why. Similar to when he saved Sylphie from the bullies. At the end of the day, the incredible series makes me think way too hard about what it means to be right or truly wrong. If you save everyone, does it matter your intentions? And if his intentions go the way Rudius believes, is he changing for the better?
But just like what Paul is presented with at the end of the first season, just as Rudy has throughout the entirety of the first few episodes of the adventure, and what many of us have undergone, is a second chance. The question is, no matter if it is in this world or another one, will the chance be wasted?